So this mushroom does a lot of wonderful work in the world and has a very beneficial role to play both in the human body and in the environments that we inhabit. For one, it's a soil builder. It's growing on a log and helping it break down into soil and helping to cycle nutrients. As Paul Stamets likes to say, mushrooms are the grand molecular disassemblers of nature. So it's taking all of the information and all of the energy that's stored up in this log and making it available to the plants so that life cycles can continue moving forward and so that we can maximize the biodiversity of a land, because that seems to be the name of the game here as far as life goes. More diversity equals a more stable system. More stable system means longer lifespan overall for all the species involved. So yeah, in the human body, this is a pretty nutritious mushroom. It has a really full nutrient profile, has a good amount of protein to it, and really tasty. This is one of my favorite mushrooms in terms of edibility. It is absolutely gourmet, no question about it. You could just fry it in any kind of oil and salt. I really like coconut oil or butter. I really love frying these in butter and salt, and I know it sounds like you fry anything in butter and salt, it's pretty good, but this in particular is really off the hook. I've made crab cakes with it where I just pulled it apart into little pieces. Like you can see, you take this and you just kind of pull it apart, you can get nice little sections that are just about, however big you want, but once it cooks down, that's about the size and texture and smell and flavor of crab meat. And I've made crab cakes with oyster mushrooms that were better than the crab cakes that I made with canned crab meat. So it's definitely a wonderful flavor to impart. And then, there's also a lot of work that's been done by Paul Stamets and continues to be done on using these mushrooms to clean up oil spills, because this is a type of fungi that has a remarkable capacity to take hydrocarbons, which are a toxic petroleum byproduct, and turn them into carbohydrates, which is usable food for animals and insects and anybody else, any other organism that likes carbohydrates. And yeah, and they're really easy to grow. We're going to take this stem butt, and it's got all this white fuzzy mycelium. I don't know how well you can zoom in on that white fuzz in there, but that white fuzz is the actual body of the fungi, and that's like running all through this log. And what happens when it's got enough water and enough food, it sends out a flush. When the temperature conditions are right and the water conditions are right, it'll pump out a flush, and that flush is this fruiting body. So having harvested this mushroom, we haven't done anything to hurt the actual organism. This log is still very well inoculated, and it's going to continue to flush out oyster mushrooms for probably another 2 to 3 or maybe even 5 years. This is growing on either a live oak or a laurel oak tree, which is a very dense kind of wood and probably has a lot of nutrition for these mushrooms. Let's see here, what else? Yeah, so I'm going to take the stems of this mushroom and I'm going to slice it up into thin little, not even an eighth of an inch. You could even do like a 1/16 of an inch. You could chop it up as small as you want. And I'm going to mix it into a little Tupperware container full of coffee grounds, or you could use a glass jar if you want, full of coffee grounds. And I'm going to cover it with a coffee filter, and that will allow gas exchange but prevent bacteria from being able to come in and contaminate the specimen. And it'll grow through coffee grounds, It'll grow through sawdust. I'm going to try and experiment with sawdust as well from the very same logs that it came from, since they've been cut up. Might as well put that to use. And so yeah, these are really easy to grow, really wonderful for the environment, really wonderful water purifiers, full of nutrition. There's a lot of clinical research showing anti-cancer activities and things of that sort, immunomodulating properties. So yeah, get to know the oyster mushroom, Pleurotus ostreatus. It's one of the easiest ones to identify too. This has a white spore print, and it only grows on dead wood. Actually, sometimes you'll find it on a living tree every now and then, but it primarily grows on fallen logs because it's only eating the dead tissues. If you see it on a living tree, that means that tree's on its way out because it's got dead tissues in it for the oyster mushroom to feed off of. And yeah, so really easy to identify, really easy to grow, really delicious, an amazing friend for us to have around. Connect with this being. Peace, world.